A long time ago, a miller kept a donkey. For many years, the donkey did hard work and was an indispensable helper for the miller. But the years passed, and the donkey became old and weak. He could no longer work at the mill, and the owner did not have the means to feed the animal. So, after a little reflection, the miller took the donkey out into the field and left him. The donkey stumbled on the spot for a long time, not knowing what to do. Suddenly he decided that he would go to the glorious city of Bremen to become a street musician and earn his living by playing the guitar. The road to the city took the donkey into the forest. For a long time he made his way through the trees until he met a sad dog lying on the grass. She had run a long way, and now she fell exhausted by the road. The donkey greeted the dog and asked why she was sad. Then the dog said that he used to be a great hunter, and such that not a single prey could escape. But now he has grown old and can no longer chase game. Therefore, the owner drove him out. The donkey thought a little, and then told the dog that he was planning to become a street musician. Suddenly the dog jumped off and barked happily. It turned out that he knows how to sing and plays the drums well, and therefore does not mind keeping the donkey company. On that and decided. Now the donkey did not go to Bremen alone. They walked through the forest together, and each sang in his own way as best he could. And then they met a cat on the road. He was so sad that the newly made friends could not pass by. They began to ask the cat why he was so unhappy. It turned out that the evil mistress drove the cat out of the house, because he was old and can no longer catch mice. Then the donkey conferred with the dog, and they decided to take the cat into the group as a violinist. And so the animals continued on their way to Bremen, until they met a rooster on the way. He sat on the hedge and crowed with horror all over the cock's throat. Friends spoke to him and learned that the rooster had escaped from the hostess, who considered him old and decided to cook soup out of him. Without thinking twice, the donkey, the dog and the cat called a rooster into the group, giving him a balalaika. So, the newly made troupe walked through the forest until night fell. Friends had no choice but to settle down for the night by a large tree. The donkey and the dog lay down from below, the cat climbed onto a branch, and the rooster sat on the very top of the tree. Suddenly a light flashed in the distance.
What?
The rooster perked up his senile eye and noticed the hut in which the light was dimly burning. Then the friends decided to spend the night in a hut. But when they made their way to the hut and looked out the window, they saw their 4 robbers celebrating another successful robbery. Already pretty hungry, the musicians decided to drive the bandits out of their lair. And now a plan ripened in the minds of friends. The donkey fell on the windowsill, the dog sat on the donkey, the cat on the dog, and a rooster turned out to be at the top of the pyramid. Then the donkey started screaming, the dog barking, the cat meowing, and the rooster crowing. Frightened by the suddenly appeared monster, the robbers ran out of the hut in fear. And friends happily settled in the hut. They ate the robbers' food and went to bed quietly. However, the bandits did not want to put up with the fact that their lair was taken over. And then they sent one of the robbers to investigate. Under cover of night, he made his way into the hut, but in the darkness did not notice the cat and stepped on it. The cat scratched the bandit's leg in a rage. The dog bit his hand, the rooster pecked in the head, and the donkey kicked his hoof with all his might in the eye. So, the bandit ran out of the hut in horror and told the rest of the robbers that terrible giants had settled in their lair, from whom it was better to stay away. From that moment on, no one disturbed the friends in the forest house. They lived in peace and harmony and called themselves the Bremen Town Musicians. One day, all the animals on the farm were left without food. Then one little red hen decided to go to the field and look for something to eat. It was sad to walk alone, so the hen went to the cow and invited her to walk together. But the cow did not want to go anywhere, and therefore said that she was very hot and she would stay on the farm. Then the chicken went to the pig, but she did not want to leave her cool puddle. So, the chicken decided to ask the dog for help, but he wished to stay in his booth. Finally the chicken went to the duck. After a short thought, she also refused to leave the pond. Nobody wanted to go with the chicken, so she had to look for food alone. So a chicken walked across the field and found several grains of wheat. Joyful, she returned to the farm and decided to plant the seed she found. The chicken thought that friends could help her. She showed the grains to the cow and offered to plant them together. But the cow was still very hot. Then the hen approached the pig, but she refused to help. So the chicken turned to the dog, but he did not want to leave the booth. The last hen asked for help from the duck, but she decided to stay in her favorite pond. And the chicken had to plant the seeds alone. Weeks passed, the rains began, and the seeds sprouted. It would be worth weeding them. Then the chicken asked her friends who could help her. The cow said it was raining today. The pig did not want to move. The dog was afraid to get dirty, and the duck complained about its health. And again the chicken had to do everything herself. The little red hen weeded the bed alone. After a while, the wheat grew and it was time to harvest. Then the chicken invited her friends to collect wheat together. But the cow was very busy. The pig did not want to get out of its puddle. The dog hid in his booth, and the duck did not listen to the chicken at all. So the little red hen worked until nightfall. She was harvesting wheat ear by ear. Finally, it was time to turn the grains into flour. The chicken again went to ask for help from her friends. Then the cow said that it was time for her to give milk, and refused to leave the barn. The pig didn't want to help either. The dog said that he did not know how to make flour, and the duck was very busy swimming in the pond. The little chicken chopped the wheat herself and turned it into flour. Finally, it's time to bake delicious bread. The chicken turned to her friends for help. But the cow had no time for work. The pig is too tired to help. The dog was busy, and the duck said that she did not know how to bake bread at all. This time, the chicken got really angry. She went to the kitchen, and she kneaded the dough from the flour that she ground. She put it in the mold herself, sent it to the oven and waited for the bread to be baked. When the aroma of fresh baked goods spread around, the chicken took the bread out of the oven. She went out into the garden, sat down at the table, and called her friends. Seeing fresh bread, all the inhabitants of the farm crowded around the chicken. They all wanted to eat well. But the chicken said that she would not share with her friends. After all, she made the bread herself, and therefore only she deserved to eat. And with great appetite, the chicken began to peck at the bread. But she couldn't come to terms with the fact that her friends were hungry. Then the chicken decided to share food, but only if her friends promised to continue to help her in everything. Now all the animals were ashamed of their behavior, because they realized that the chicken was right. And they promised to always help each other in everything. The little red hen knew that her friends were learning a real lesson. She shared bread with them. The friends ate together, became well-fed and contented. They lived on their farm for a long time and always helped each other.